Hey guys, it's the Black Crusader coming to you with another video straight from the warp. This is going to be a new segment of my videos where I'll be discussing the tactics involved using the Chaos Space Marines. In this particular segment we will be going into the Chaos Lord HQ choice. Now, the way this will work is I'll go into the vanilla choices of the Chaos Lord, how I usually equip him, and then I would be going quickly through the legions and giving my thoughts and opinions as to which Chaos Lord I believe is the best choice to have, and personally what the best demonic weapon for him to possess is. Now, jumping right into this, if you're using the simple vanilla Chaos Codex, without a doubt my favorite weapon in there is the Burning Brand of Scalatrax. The reason for this is I know you have weapons like the Black Mace, Murder Sword and so on, but you really don't want to you really don't need those weapons for your close combat capabilities. You see, I believe the Chaos Space Marines have more than enough killing power in close combat to face most armies down. What they kind of lack at times is some mid-range fire support. Now, the Burning Brand of Scalatrax is an AP3 flamer, torrent, gets rid of anything in power armor, causes soul blaze. I find that to be the best weapon to have, and it's cheap for what it does. As far as basic equipment, you know, I give my Chaos Lord just maybe a power weapon. I might give him a power fist if I'm playing a bigger point game, but otherwise I let him be as he is. And I will usually upgrade him with either the Aura of Dark Glory or the Icon of Chaos Glory, which both give him an invulnerable save. Now, quickly just jumping into marks, I usually don't have a particular favorite mark. I see how my army is to play and I pick and choose my mark accordingly to the situation given. Now, if we quickly go just through the Traitor Legions Codex, if you take a Black Legion Chaos Lord, that Chaos Lord will gain Hatred, and he will gain Hatred in every round of combat versus armies of the Imperium. He will be able to Deep Strike in turn 1 if you take a Black Legion Spear Tip, and he will also gain the Fear and Crusader special rule. The best weapon for him to possess is, I believe, the Hand of Darkness out of the Black Legion artifacts. I know it's a little bit of a gamble, but with the Chaos Lord's Hatred in the Black Legion army, it's kind of worth it just to take down like the bigger stuff like monsters and stuff like that I usually struggle with. Moving on to the Black Legion, the main benefit of having a Black Legion Chaos Lord is that you won't give your opponent the point for Slay the Warlord, because he will need to kill every one of your characters to gain that point. What this means is you can put your Chaos Lord towards the most dangerous tasks, and then simply, even if he does die, you simply switch him for another character in your army. On top of that, you do gain Shrouded in turn 1. As far as the best the best artifact for the Alpha Legion Chaos Lord to possess, I believe it's the Mind Veil, simply because it gives you a lot of maneuverability and just game board control throughout the battle. Moving on, Iron Warriors Chaos Lords hate Imperial Fists and are hated by Imperial Fists in turn. Gain the Feel No Pain on a 6+, and reroll Armor Penetration for buildings if they have not rolled a Glancing hit or a Penetrating hit. On top of that, if you take them in a formation, they are stubborn and they are fearless in buildings, which the Chaos Lord is already technically fearless. As far as the best artifact for them to possess, I believe the Flesh Metal Exoskeleton is the best artifact you can possibly equip them with, simply because it gives them that extra durability, and if you're playing the Iron Warriors, you really will be a more shooky Chaos-oriented army. Moving on, the Night Lords, your Chaos Lord will gain the Fear, Stealth and Night Vision special rules. He will also reduce the leadership of any enemy in close combat by 2 on Fear checks. You will also get to reroll your charge rolls and have Night Fighting in turn 1 if you take him as part of a formation. On top of that, I believe the best weapon to have is just the Claws of the Black Hunt, a very simple weapon in close combat that can tear through most stuff. If you're using a Night Lord's Chaos Lord, I would definitely recommend you put a jump pack on him, simply to keep the fluffiness of the game going, but also to give him the extra mobility needed. Moving on, if you're using the Ward Bearers, your Chaos Lord will hate Ultramarines and be hated by Ultramarines in turn. and will also gain the Crusader and a few free Chaos Boon once per game if he is taken as part of a formation. The best Chaos weapon I can foresee him having is the Cursed Crozius, which just is, I believe it's really good against armies of the Imperium, but also otherwise it's still a power maul and can be used in other situations. Moving on, the World Eater's Chaos Lord will gain Adamantium Will, Fearless and Furious Charge, and he will be able to move 2d6 before the game begins if you take him as part of a Butcher Horde. The best item I believe for him to have will be the Talisman of Burning Blood, simply because it gives him the extra maneuverability and he really doesn't need much more help in killing stuff in close combat. Moving on, the Thousand Suns Chaos Lord will simply have a +1 invulnerable save if he is blessed by another Chaos Sorcerer, and will have hatred against Space Wolves and be hated by Space Wolves in turn. The best weapon I believe for him to have is the Seer's Bane, simply because it gives him that extra option of killing bigger, meaner stuff in close combat. Moving on, the Death Guard Chaos Lord will have the Feel No Pain but have -1 initiative. He will be relentless and he will be able to reroll Feel No Pain on a 1 and have stealth when enemies more than 18 inches away from him if he is taken as part of formation. Best weapon of choice, the Pandemic Staff in my humble opinion. Moving on to the last Chaos Legion, the Emperor's Children Chaos Lord will gain the Feel No Pain on a 6+, will be able to strike before, will be able to make one attack before dying in close combat, and will gain the Combat Rugs if taken apart of a formation. Best item of choice, the Shriek Wave. Now, I believe technically all of the Chaos Lords taken from any of the Traitor Legions are somewhat equal. I believe the most dangerous one might be the World Eater's one, simply because of his maneuverability and the ability to really hit hard in close combat. I believe the worst Chaos Lord would be one from the Thousand Suns, simply because he gains the least amount of benefits for being in a Thousand Sun army. While of course I believe the most durable Chaos Lord would definitely be a Death Guard Chaos Lord mounted on a bike or a Pelican of Nurgle. Another interesting fact is the Black Legion Chaos Lord, who is able to deep strike in turn 1 and will be able to get maybe that alpha strike for you. Now, the main way I use my Chaos Lords is in one of three ways. Either he's going to be a lone wolf, a supporting character, or he's going to be a tank. If I choose him to be a tank, he will be in Terminator armor, deep striking down with a bodyguard of Terminators. If he will be a lone wolf, he can have a jetpack, bike or a demonic mount, and he can be part of a raptor or a spawn formation and will in some point during the game split off from that formation to pursue his own targets. And if I pick a normal supporting character Chaos Lord, I will usually make sure he has a cheap bodyguard unit, and the main benefit is that the supporting Chaos Lord can be very cheaply built, so 120, 150 points at most. Now, a little bit touching on the actual building and owning and painting of a Chaos Lord, I suggest buying the Games Workshop Terminator Lord simply because he comes with so many bits, but I definitely recommend you magnetize him. Otherwise, I'd suggest you just convert your own Chaos Lord from the bits you have in your box. If you've been a long time collector, you will be able to go very crazy on this miniature. Me personally, I prefer to build my own, as you can see before you. So I have a Chaos Lord that's custom made, a Raptor Lord that's custom made, and two very humble Chaos Lords that are custom made. But yeah, I believe it's one of my favorite choices in the Chaos Army, simply because of the character he puts in. So yeah, I believe that's about all I wish to share for now. I'll catch you again in the next Tactics video. Bye bye.